How's it going, everybody? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I invite you to pull up a chair, sit back, and relax for a very special edition of the SPMA Council Podcast. I'm your host, as always, William Ward. As the 2020-2021 academic year is finally upon us, we thought we'd use this episode to bring you the 2020-2021 State of the Union of the Brock Sport Management Council for all our listeners at Brock University, wherever that brings you this year, whether it be St. Catharines, Thorold, GTA, or anywhere in the world. We bring on the Council President, Ethan Crystal, to talk about the year at a glance, what to expect, and some of the things that we've learned over this pandemic. So I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the 2020-2021 State of the Union. Cheers, folks. All right, like I said in the intro, we have a very special episode coming up. The SPMA Council Podcast State of the Union 2020 for all our Brock listeners back in St. Catharines, Thorold, wherever you're studying this year. And our guest today is SPMA Council President Ethan Crystal, and I have to say, this is quite the parallel universe that we're living in, because last year you were usually hosting this thing alongside myself. Now you're the guest. What in the name of God's going on?
I don't know, but yeah, I'm so used to going back and forth with you, having these amazing conversations with everybody we spoke with in season 1, and now all of a sudden I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I am a guest. I don't know, to quote the famous Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands right now. For those watching on video, I don't know what to do with my hands. But this is weird. I'm kind of excited, kind of nervous. I've never, been asked the questions. I've only been asking the questions. I've been doing podcasts for 3 years now. I've always been asking the questions, never been asked the questions. So let's hope I don't screw this one up, right? How's everyone doing?
For sure.
This is so weird because I have the urge here to just speak and be like, hey guys, how you doing? My name's Ethan, just like how we did last year. But this is your show now. You are the guy. So if I do that, just, call me out, cut me off there. This is your host. This is you, Evan and Neville. This is you guys is your project now. And you guys, might I add, have been doing an amazing job so far. Obviously behind the scenes, we have some more insight than the listeners do as to what the podcast team's been working on, but they've been working really hard to deliver an amazing season 2, and I kind of can't believe that Will asked me to be on this slate. We have some amazing people lined up, and then to see the name Ethan Crystal next there, for me, it's a little boost of confidence. I'm not gonna lie to you there.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
All right, let's get right into it. There's obviously a lot of new listeners to this podcast. So to those new listeners, tell us a bit about yourself, as well as the overall mission that SPMA Council sets out to achieve.
Yeah, so I guess before anything, if you are new to the podcast, welcome. Hi, my name is Ethan Crystal. I am the president for SPMA Council for this upcoming 2020-2021 school year. I would have loved to have met you in person, but I'm meeting you virtually, obviously due to different circumstances. The different world we live in now, it's totally okay. Hopefully one day, if you're a SPMA student in the first year or you're transferring in, I'd love to meet you. Speaking of transferring, that is what I am. That is where I came from. I'm a transfer student, originally from the great Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Transferred in 2 years ago from Concordia University, and my final year at Brock, I kind of flew by. Had some amazing times, and yeah, that's a little bit about me. Overall mission that council sets out to achieve. So I won't give you the textbook definition here of what we came up with, but we are a representative of the student body. This program has a student population that's growing every year. I think every year it's the highest, the most first years coming in. And this program is growing immensely in popularity. And the council's objective is to represent those students. Our mission is to bring students, the best opportunities possible to advance their career, to really, give them all the tools they need to succeed. Class does the exact same thing. we kind of want to go a step further. We love acting as a bridge in between students and faculty. We love acting as a bridge between students and alumni. And really, our overall mission is to represent the students and to have the students, all students in the program have their best interests at heart, and really kind of deliver these programs, these individuals, and whatnot that really make an unforgettable school experience.
Most definitely. And, I think that mission is going to be heightened, especially since, the traditional amenities, I think that's how you pronounce that word. If I've screwed that up, pardon my English.
Amenities, yeah.
Yeah, but since some of those amenities in first year are no longer viable due to the situation that we're in, I think making sure we act as a good student voice is paramount for making sure SPMA stays as more as not just like, okay, here's the number of students in the program. We want to make sure that this is a united community, albeit virtually. That for the time being, it's unprecedented times, but we're ready.
The amount of times I've heard the word unprecedented in the past 8 months is at least double the amount that I heard in my first 22 years on this earth, without a doubt.
Oh my God! Okay, now you could start putting some wagers on how many times you're gonna hear that in a day, eh?
Give me an over under here. Give me a line. I'm good for it.
Hitting those parlays, I like to see it. Going on to the next question. Obviously, the formation of this year's council group was a bit unorthodox. So, what are your thoughts on the current group that council has this year? And with that in mind, what do you think is the impression that you want to set out with the group that's established through not just SPMA and the Brock community? Although you may have touched on that point in the first question.
Yeah, and it's okay. I can harp on it more if you want. My current impression of the group, I'm going to be the most biased possible because I think we have the best group out there. Being in council in 3 years, I have no hesitation in saying our group right now is built for success. And that is not me saying the past two groups have been bad. The past two groups have been amazing. Council has had such a revival in the past 3 years, first under David Stark, then under Vince Capano. There have been some amazing groups on council that have done some amazing things. But to be quite honest with you, I project confidence knowing that this group that we put together is going to deliver the most unexpected surprises to the program and deliver an amazing year, especially given the fact that we are the most unique council group to date. So I don't care that I'm biased right now. I think this is an amazing group. Myself, the other 4 execs, shout out to Nat, Court, Bailey, and Suze. We got together and, we kind of built all these questions and all these role descriptions and what we kind of envisioned for the group to be. And then, we bring in 17 other amazing individuals that have all gelled so well together. And we are now a large group of 22 that has already put on some amazing stuff and will continue to put on some amazing stuff throughout the year. So impressed with what council's been doing, especially given the circumstances. I mean, myself and the other 4 execs, there are some people on council that we have not met in person yet. We've only met them virtually.
Right.
For example, Neville, on the podcast team, I have not met Neville yet in person. I've only met him virtually, and we've already had some amazing conversations, and he's done some amazing work so far for us. But can you imagine, putting your trust in somebody who you've only ever met through a computer screen?
Definitely.
It's easier now, but it was difficult in March, April, when the execs had to do all these interviews over the computer. We didn't want to. We wanted to be there. We wanted to meet everybody. We wanted to, introduce ourselves and give the prospective candidates opportunities to meet with us as well,
right.
And to get an impression on us. So it's an amazing group. I'm so proud of what they've accomplished, and I am so confident that by the end of the year, everybody will see how unique and how amazing of a team this is.
Definitely.
There was a second question there. And I
Definitely.
totally
So
went long.
Yeah. Just to sum up the impression that you want to set out throughout SPMA and the Brock community at large. It doesn't have to be a answer.
It's exactly what I said before. We want to show to the students that we are there for them whenever they need. If they want to get to know more about working in basketball, we can set up a connection with a former alumni or have them meet a prof who's really into basketball. If they want to learn more about analytics, we can do the same thing. Like, we want to provide students the opportunity to learn more and to grow more. I think a big thing that we wanted to do this year was to start spreading awareness on internship opportunities and on volunteer opportunities. And I don't know if this internship opportunity will still be available by the time that this episode released, but I'd say earlier this week, I know I say don't date yourself when you do a podcast, but earlier this week before recording, I got an email from Alex Dominato, who was actually a presenter or a speaker in our virtual speaker series back in June. And he sent an internship opportunity our way that SPMA Council brought to the students. So, I'd love to bring more of those opportunities to students, whether it's volunteer or internship or even job, really to give back to the community.
Definitely. I mean, like, the more we can do to help students. I mean the better. Obviously, we have positions on this club, but in saying that, most people on the majority of the people in the club have adopted a motto of service above self, if you will, and to help the greater good that is SPMA. So building off that, obviously the pandemic has been a roller coaster for most people, but as I look at the success that we've had from the speaker series, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think we topped out from about almost, I think a sellout crowd of 100 for one presentation, and the other presentations after that were in the low 80s to low 90s. So what has that taught you about the importance of social connection and student involvement?
Yeah, so essentially what I learned is that no matter what, there are certain people who will go above and beyond to learn more.
Yep.
At the end of the day, when COVID came around and we were all quarantining in our house, there was not much to do. But you also knew in the back of your head that you could have been doing something.
Right.
Like, I'll use this example. I am certain without a shadow of a doubt that in 6 months from now, or even 3 months from now, even next week, if you go for a job interview, somebody will ask you, what did you do during COVID? Somebody will say, there were 2-3 months where you were locked in your house. What did you do to better yourself? Some people I saw took online certificates, which was great, did online classes. This was just another opportunity for students to learn more and to engage and to meet industry professionals. And we really went diverse with this because we had this opportunity given to us. It's not a limitation that we were online. It was an opportunity given to us. That's how you have to look at it. It taught me that students are very involved in the program, and there are individuals that really want to maximize their time and their resources in SPMA, which is going to equal success. Absolutely, without a doubt. And I also kind of learned on a, I guess, less of a professional level, more on a personal level, there are people that are there for you during these tough times. Without a doubt, you really, when times are tough, you will find out who some of your closest friends are. Those who really care about you, care about your family. And it's as simple as, somebody like, hey, this is a, crazy time right now. I hope everything's all right. Hope all is well. It's a cliche email thing to say sometimes, hope all is well. But from a social perspective, just, it taught me the importance of seeing my friends and having my friends, and actually interacting with people, because I love my family, but being locked in the house with them for 8 hours a day for however many days, I was tired at the end.
Yeah.
It taught everyone a lot. I'll kind of veer off for a second because I think it's important to note that the pandemic really taught us that the sports industry is so volatile. Like sports
100%.
shut down.
100%.
Sports shut down like
Yeah.
completely. There were no sports on TV. And as a fan, as somebody who's loved sports my entire life, I was shocked. More importantly, as a professional or an aspiring professional, to see all these people all of a sudden have no work and lose their job, I got scared.
Yep.
What if I was in their position? All of a sudden I lost my job. Like, I was scared. This industry, it's really cutthroat and it's really volatile, especially apparently when there's a pandemic around. So I learned a lot. I guess the next pandemic, if there is one, we will know how to react, right? Because we didn't know how to react here. No one really knew what to do. So I guess now that we are prepared, if God forbid, another wave happens or a second pandemic happens in a couple of years, I'm glad that people are now prepared.
Definitely. Let's knock on wood. There's not going to be a second pandemic, for the love of God.
Absolutely.
But I mean, like you see all these, you see like how the industry reacted to it, and it's shocking and intimidating at the same time. But you got to realize that you have to make do with what you have. So even if it's as little as something like like learning a random fact about anything, or even just doing some like a small online stuff, doesn't matter. I mean, you're bettering yourself, and like as a student, that's what counts in this stage, even though you really can't control the external environment around you. Moving over to
that's a good point. That's a good point you bring up about controlling the environment around you.
Yeah,
we can never control the environment around us. All we can control is how we react.
Yep.
I think it's a great thing you have to keep in mind, that there's so much that goes on around you that you cannot control. You have to control how you react and how you proceed afterwards. And
100%.
More on that before we move on, I do want to ask you a question. Actually, I'm going to turn this around on you. Coming out of the virtual speaker series, Will, how many people did you connect with? How many speakers did you connect with?
I'm trying to think. It was like, I'd say 4 to 5, roughly.
Okay.
Roughly.
Amazing. Now, let's say I ask you the question in an interview right now, what did you do during COVID? You have an answer, right? You have an answer that might put you above another candidate. And that's just kind of something I wanted to highlight, just to real quick, to like hammer down my point that some individuals really took advantage of this situation and helped better their professional careers and their professional development, which is great, and huge kudos to them.
Definitely. So, on a more positive note, we're and this happens every year. We're seeing a new crop of SPMA students coming into Brock, albeit virtually. But in saying that, what are some of the strategies that you have to connect, establish a good connection with those first years as the president of the council?
Right. So I guess first things first. Obviously, it has presented a challenge for us because I don't know if you remember, but I believe at every orientation, SPMA Council is there, so students have that opportunity to meet them, right, face to face. Obviously, it didn't happen this year. We did create a video for the online orientation. Pardon me. For the online orientation, introducing myself, introducing the council. So that there's a video made, presented to first year students. Now, how are we going to get them involved? It's tough because everybody is behind their computer. With that being said, we have 22 individuals on this council, and every single one of those 22 individuals is working hard to find unique, fun, interactive, educational, other words that I can't think of right now, activities or experiences or panels that these students can take advantage of. It is, as we know, pretty easy to set up a Zoom call, as everyone should know by now. It's pretty easy to set up a Zoom call. So we want to kind of take that feeling that the council helps provide, that feeling of we're a group of students, we are here for you, that feeling that you instill in first years when you first meet them. And then we want to kind of replicate it just virtually, and that's okay. So many of the events that were hosted, like a trivia night, we obviously can't do in person. We're going to have an online substitute, right? And it's forced us to think outside the box as to what we are going to do, which might, again, make this most unique council ever, and gives us, instead of a limitation, it's more of an opportunity, right? Just to show like how unique and how creative we can be. So definitely with the first years, especially if you are listening to this right now, my first thing is I invite you to shoot me a message on LinkedIn. First off, create a LinkedIn. Dr. Christy Spence will tell you that in 1P92. Create a LinkedIn.
That point's hammered home 100 times.
Yeah, create a LinkedIn.
Or if you take 1P92 with Dr. Pat Reed, he'll hammer that home plus the business
and
card.
Plus the business cards. Exactly. So I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to shoot me an email, it should be somewhere, but if not, EC18KJ, super easy. I invite you to connect with me. Ask me any questions you need about the program. The council's already going to do something like this. I'm assuming this is going to be released after the vendor fair. Yeah, Will is nodding his head, so you can confirm that. So by the time this is done, we have already hosted a virtual Q&A session with SPMA students and for first years if they have any questions coming into the program. So we can't be there in person, and it sucks we can't be there in person, but we are there for you at every step of the way virtually. I know everybody's got a phone, everyone's got an email. Most people should have LinkedIn by now. So shoot me a message, really, if you have any questions, or if you want to, let's say you're a first year walking in and say, hey, I'm super interested in hockey analytics. Shoot me a message, say, hey, do you know anybody who, either in the program or out of the program who loves hockey analytics? And I'll help set that connection up for you, just to make sure you maximize this time given to you, this opportunity to kind of be there virtually.
Definitely. I mean, it's obviously hard to, do, our traditional stuff, without an in-person component, but, using the resources that we have, like the main message to all you first years or all you new listeners is do not hesitate to reach out. Please. We're student,
right.
we're student
Absolutely.
guys. We deal with, the same responsibilities, deadlines, et cetera. And we're all human at the end of the day. And, we like to talk to, and people who have the same passion as us for being successful in the sport industry. So don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be looking on our social media pages for new events coming up, and
thank you for that plug.
Like that, and yeah, like as a council, we will try our hardest to make your first year experience.
Well, I will add on to that. Follow us on Instagram at SPMA_council. Shameless plug. No shame in there whatsoever. Follow us on Instagram. If you have any questions, send us a DM. Our social team is great at getting back to you guys. And if they don't have the answer, they will find somebody who has the answer.
Definitely. Moving on to, the next question. And, this might be a little bit of a personal one, but if you want to connect to the council, you can do so. Are there any specific goals that you'd like to accomplish this year in your final year, Brock?
Yeah, so when I read the questions, this one kind of popped out at me. I always think it's a little selfish to have personal goals when you're in a position of leadership, especially on a student-run council. But at the end of the day, I think society is a little selfish in itself. It's very, personal opinion driven. So I will say, absolutely coming into my role as president, I have some personal goals for myself. I think they're more expectations than anything. But I'll say as a goal for being on council is to just represent the students and represent the council to the best of the abilities. I am very fortunate to have been voted in by my peers on council to be in this role, and I'm honored that people believe that I can succeed in this role. And every day I want to prove those people right. I want to keep pushing myself. I want to push others to be better. And at the end of the day, I want to have a successful year. So, on council, in terms of goals, I would love if by the end of the year, we could have helped 2-3 individuals secure internships, whether it's we introduce them to an alumni or we send out a post that somebody ends up applying for. I would also love to connect students with, alumni or industry professionals around the world. I think the fact that we're online gives us that opportunity to connect with people around the world. If you look at, who we had at the virtual speaker series, we had people working for La Liga soccer, right? People working for F1. Like we kind of branched out there. And I want to go even further than that because there are so many more opportunities in the world, in the sports industry that students may not be aware of. So those are a couple of goals of mine on a personal level. And again, it is a bit selfish, but as I want to grow as a professional, even as a person, I think it's important to sometimes set yourself goals. On a personal level, I want to be able to look back on this year and just be satisfied. Just be like, we did all we could to make sure everybody had a great year. And I look back 3-4 years from now, I'm like, we did a great job. Like I don't want to necessarily rest. I want to represent myself, the name, the Ethan Crystal, and the Brock Sport Management Council, which I happen to be repping right now, to the fullest of my abilities, and to do that with no regrets. Or as they say in We're the Millers, no regrets, not a single letter. So yeah, those are some goals I have for this year. And I understand they're kind of high. I think if you don't set high goals for yourself, how are you going to keep pushing yourself?
Definitely.
But they're attainable. I definitely think this, group, as I mentioned before, has the potential to put on some incredibly amazing events that people have never seen before. And again, it's a little confidence, but a little confidence goes a long way.
Definitely. I mean, you got to aim high. Really, if you want to get to the top. But the old saying goes, you have to make do with what you have. And if you have limited resources to do something, then so be it. It happens a lot of times in real life. So you have to do your best to work with it.
No, it's true. Real life will absolutely. No, sorry, Will, go ahead.
Another piece of advice for first years is, even though the in-person component is gone, try your best at least to make sure you have try your best to A, get to know some people, and B, ask for help when you need it. It's the worst thing to not know what you're doing, but not ask for any assistance or ever. So reach out.
So I'll add on that real quick. Add on that real quick. The funny thing is that you mentioned that we are literally all in this together, and a fourth year is going through the exact same thing a first year is going through in this program. No one's had a full online semester ever. So this is as new to me as it is to John Doe starting their first year, right?
Right.
It's going to be an adjustment. I would also throw in there, get to know your teachers, get to know your professors if you can. Brock has some amazing faculty, but not some. All of them are amazing faculty. I haven't had the chance to meet some of them yet, but I just, again, confidence in the program right there.
Right.
Brock has some amazing faculty with some fantastic experiences around the world in many different areas. So, again, if you have an interest in, let's say, working in track and field, being a track and field coach or something, there's obviously a professor that might, have a background working in Olympics and worked with the track and field team.
Right.
I am referring to a specific professor right now that I'm thinking of. But what I'm saying here is, like, professors have so much knowledge in those brains of theirs, so many experiences, so many stories that you can just sit down for hours and chat with them.
Definitely. They're a great resource to take advantage of if you so choose, and so are your fellow peers as well, because who knows, you may rely on those as not only connections but good friends as you go on through your SPMA journey. The last question I want to ask before we wrap up this episode, and it's an old traditional one for listeners back in season 1. What's the funniest thing that's ever happened in your SPMA career that you can share on air?
Okay, so I've been in SPMA only a couple years. I wouldn't say many funny things have happened during class. I once got to teach a class. That happened last year. I guess I'll share that story, but I can share another one after. So I went on exchange the fall of last semester. I went to LSU, go Tigers. I'll never stop talking about that. That was a great experience in my life. And Dr. Pat Reed, asked me to come to his class to speak about exchange and the experience. So I went to Pat Reed's class with a good buddy of mine, Evan Frazier, who was supposed to be going on exchange. He's supposed to be there right now, but unfortunately they were canceled for the fall semester. And we spoke the entire class about exchange, and we presented in front of first-year students. So I taught a class once. Great, again, for my ego, great for my confidence. I taught a class. I don't know many kids who could say that, right? It's pretty funny. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I kind of just spoke. I tend to do that often. A lot of words come out of my mouth.
Yet the
Another
ego
funny story.
Through the roof, buddy?
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. The confidence that was bestowed upon me from being asked to come teach a class was fairly high. But it just, talking about that exchange, and I'll tell a story in a second, though that was a great experience in my life. If I have any advice to any SPMA students listening, is take that opportunity if you can. Go on exchange. I went to the States because I love college football, college basketball, that culture, and I think I want to work there when I'm older. But if you want to go to Australia, go for it. And go 2 months early and explore. Go everywhere. Like, that would be my advice. But I will tell a story about when I was on exchange. And it has to be good for on air. So it will be good for on air. So while I was on exchange, I worked for LSU event management. I had an amazing time, worked all the football games. And more than that, I went to the SEC championship in Atlanta and then the national championship to watch them beat Clemson in New Orleans in January. No words to describe how that was. But, LSU is a big name, obviously has many alumni. And one of the games, I forget who it was with, but one of the games, Shaq, who's an alumni of LSU, was coming. It was Arkansas. So Shaq was coming. And I actually, funny enough, I saw him DJ at Fred's, which is a bar there the night before. He DJs dubstep. I did not imagine that he liked dubstep music, but he DJs dubstep. So I saw Shaq DJ. And then the day before, I was working and I had a couple of SPMA kids who were there on exchange with me, Nick Reed, Kevin Doran, shout out to you guys. They were helping out because they had to do some volunteer hours for one of our classes. They were helping out me in the office set up everything for game day. And we get back to the office, and two of my co-interns, Savannah and Christy, they walk into the office and they're like, "Yo, we just met Shaq." I'm like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, we just met Shaq." Like we're gonna take him to football ops because he wants to go to football ops. So we're gonna take Shaq to football ops. And we were like, whoa, where is Shaq? Like we all want to go meet him. So Kevin, Nick, and I, again, we were like doing our thing, right? So we originally missed Shaq. We only got back into the office. And we're talking to him for like 2 minutes about Shaq. I'm like, oh my God, I want to go meet him. But by the time we finished our conversation, we all went outside, Shaq had left.
Dang.
Yeah, so Shaq had left. And then I'll continue. It's a different story, but it's the same weekend. During the game, usually during the game day, I was helping out outside the stadium everywhere. I helped a lot with parking. So that was like my realm. For some reason, this was my last home game. I ended up inside the stadium at the start of the game, and I'm like, what is going on? Because it doesn't happen. I'm like inside the stadium at the start of the game. The band's going off. Everyone's cheering. Fireworks. 100,000 people screaming the same song. Like goosebumps, literally goosebumps. But I'm even there like when the game started. And usually, again, like I'm outside the stadium. So I'm there. I'm like, I don't know what to do. My boss comes up to me. He's like, I need you to stay here. I'm like, this is not my job. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my God. I need you to stay here. Hold back media. So I'm there. I'm like standing here. I'm like, can you get a picture? Like, do you need me to move? All of a sudden, I see the crowd stand up and start cheering. And the cameras are going off. I'm like, what is going on? I turn around. I tell you not, maybe 10 yards in front of me, Jamar Chase is catching a pass, turning around and running for a touchdown. And I'm like, oh my God, that just happened right in front of me. And I threw my hands up like this, and I checked their Twitter feed the next day, and there's a GIF, or a GIF, I don't know how you pronounce it, of that, him catching that touchdown and running, and in the background, you see me just like this, like running down the field with him. It was really funny. I ended up in a GIF somehow. I don't think that was what I was supposed to be doing, but I did it. And I cheered, and I don't really care. It was a great time. Saw a touchdown, caught it right in front of me, and ended up on LSU's Twitter feed.
That's a great story. Nothing like a little bit of social media fame to get the engines rolling for sure. I mean,
taggers, baby.
Yeah. I mean, like get in that environment in front of like 100,000 fans. Like there's only a couple atmospheres that offer that.
Second to none.
Yeah.
Second to none. If anybody wants to see videos. If anyone wants to see videos, just ask. I have a ton on my phone. I love showing them off. If you want to see videos, that stadium atmosphere is incredible. So just ask. I have them.
Definitely. Well, you know what? We're getting close to the end of the episode. So, I hope this serves as a good primer for the 2020-2021 school year. I hope the first years, reach out to us, connect on LinkedIn, or even just talk to us about the program, or the interest that we have, because we're a club that's made by students, but we're also here for the students first and foremost as well.
Yeah. So, and can I jump in there real quick?
Yeah.
I definitely have to say, it's not just SPMA Council here. There are other older students or like upper year students that are not on council that will have the exact same advice that we have. So just go out and introduce yourself. And there are many other, clubs within Brock who have the exact same mission, is to bringing opportunities to students. So I kind of, you didn't ask me, but I want to give some advice here, is just make the most of your time, maximize your opportunities, and have an amazing couple years.
Yeah, for sure. And so to end off this episode, as always, we'd like to give the guest a couple minutes to, share what's on their mind and wrap up the episode. And although you've been saying those exact words last year,
I kind of forgot.
We're gonna do another Uno reverse card and say, Ethan, the floor is yours, buddy. Even though I kind of way on my screen.
I kind of forgot. It's been so long since I've been a co-host with you. I kind of forgot that we did it. And this is an amazing thing where you give the guests the opportunity to kind of say what they want. I'm going to cede my time here. I'm going to I probably said that word wrong. I'm going to just give up my time right here. I want you to have the sign off. Will, thank you so much for having me on here. Shout out to you. Shout out to Neville. Shout out to Evan. You guys have been doing an amazing job, and I'm so excited for season 2. So Will, please sign us off. give me that, spit and chicklets outro right there.
Yeah.
And thank you. And, for those listening back at home, we hope you enjoy. We hope you listen along. And hopefully I'll meet some of you guys soon.
Well, Jesus. All right. You've put me on the spot here, but here we go.
Isn't that
again,
when you get like the rawest emotion, right?
Yeah. Again, I hope that that this serves as a great primer for the 2020-2021 academic year, like I said before. But in context of the podcast and how it ties into what we're doing. I jumped on board a year ago, and I've really still in awe of what this has accomplished, from getting the guests on to getting on Brock TV last year, all that stuff. But what I hope at the end of the day this is a place where it's enough of a low-key environment that allows people to tune in, relax, and listen to some accomplished sport industry professionals to provide some entertainment to their day, and hopefully learn something. As you said before, if people go through these episodes and they learn maybe one or two things, if that can be done, then at the end of the day, I'm very very happy. So again, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to connect with us, and the podcast is on social as well. So follow us at SPMA Council Podcast. We're on every single podcast platform you can name: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and we're also on YouTube in video format for those who like to tune into that as well. The YouTube name is Brock Sport Management Council, the official SPMA Council YouTube channel. So that ends the 2020 edition of the State of the Union. For our guest Ethan Crystal, I'm William Mort, as always, saying thank you for listening. Stay classy, God bless, and cheers to a great 2020 year. We'll see you guys soon. Later, fellas.